Alright, hello guys, welcome to this new show. I've kind of got the topic which is going to be motorcycles versus cars. We both enjoy both for various reasons. So I've got some questions, nothing too crazy. I'm going to ask my brother kind of one at a time. I thought I could maybe make a little short clip thing that's easy to edit and throw together for Wednesday. Oh, here he is. Okay, my brother's here, so I will start the questions as soon as I am able to. Hello, brother.
Hello?
Alright, so I have a random question for you. Is there a car out there that would make you just give up motorcycling?
I don't think so.
That's kind of what
Not
I
that I've
thought,
driven.
and that's the same for
Why do
me.
you ask?
I don't know. I just thought of all these like questions last night. I was just curious. Because I don't know. Last
I
night
don't
I
know.
didn't go to
There's
sleep until like
nothing
3.
I could think of that would replace that. Motorcycle has that feeling with the leaning and
That's what
everything
I
and being
thought
out in the
too.
open.
There's just nothing like it. And I feel like people that don't drive bikes, they just like. The other day on YouTube, I think someone was like commenting about cars and bikes, and someone was like, "Don't buy a bike. You're making like a couple $1 million. Why would you want to do something unsafe when you can get the same feeling in a car? Because you can buy like whatever car you want because you're a millionaire." And I was just thinking to myself, there's just it, like, yes, there's cars that are ridiculously fast, and if you want just like the sense of fast, I guess you can kind of maybe get there.
Yeah.
But you would never get like the openness and actually even the sense of speed because you're out in the open, quite like on a bike.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you could get sort of closer with like things like a Caterham or
Yeah.
whatever, but still not. I don't think it would be the same.
Yeah. Okay, so then I guess next question right after that is if you had to quit motorcycling for whatever reason because you like lost your legs, but you could make a car work or something. I don't know, whatever. Like motorcycles exploded and they never made another one and they couldn't exist for some reason because they're illegal. Would there be a car that you would drive?
I'd probably get something with no roof, that's for sure. Although
So
I kind of already have something with no roof.
T-top 300, yes. So would you go over like a Caterham type thing, like a small lightweight car, or would you just get a convertible Porsche something?
That's a hard question to answer. I don't know. Probably a small lightweight thing. I think it'd be the most fun. If you're trying to replace a bike, it would be something I'd probably only drive in the summertime anyway, so it could be
Yeah. So
less
probably a
practical.
Donkervoort, or a
Pretty
Caterham,
much, yeah.
or an Ariel Atom, something
Yeah.
like that.
Are you making a game, by the way? Or
Oh
do
yeah,
I need
sorry,
to-
I was. Yes, I'm making a game.
But yes, something like that, I feel like.
So do you want to do Formula X cars today?
We can try it.
Let me see if I can find them here.
Or even the regular, whatever, Formula A, whichever.
Let's start with Formula X and work our way down.
Work our way down. We're probably going to die.
Probably, but maybe we won't. Okay. Then I have another random question. Since we already asked it the
Okay.
first two, what makes biking
Are
different
you
than
gonna write a
everything
book or
else?
something, or make a documentary?
Yes, I'm making a documentary. What makes motorcycling better for you, or like different enough to cars that you'd actually want to buy a bike separate?
Uh, what makes it different?
Yeah,
What makes it worth it
special?
over a
Yeah,
car?
worth it. Yeah.
Wow, this is a really dark track at night.
Oh dang it! I didn't even think about that.
It's not terrible, because I know the track, but it is dark. I have to get used to the cornering speeds. It's hard to think about what makes a bike special.
I know.
Well, a lot for me is I like to stick out, and bikes are really good at that.
Oh, this is very dark. Maybe we should reset.
No, no. This car turns so well.
So when you say stick out, you mean just like be out in the open, where everyone can like kind of see you?
I just like to be noticed, is what I'm trying to say.
Yes. It's a good way to not talk to people and be noticed.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like a really interesting feeling too. Like a car, I guess if you're driving like a Porsche or a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, people notice you, but they can't quite see you the same way as you do on a bike. People look at you like you're a menace or something. Feel like we'll be fine. Oh, I guess
Going to fight. Wow, that's pretty.
Well, let's see. We'll see. See.
This car's already quite a handful coming out of corners, and you're gonna make it even more squirrely.
Yes.
I feel like this track you could probably run more camber too, because we got a lot less straights and it's more about the cornering.
Oh! Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe I'm topping.
It's the only thing I know.
Oh my goodness, what is happening?
Okay with it? Wow, my brakes heated up.
You know what's gonna be awesome? I just did a burnout to warm my tires up, but now my fronts are cold, so I'm gonna understeer like a boss. Yep, there it is. Ah!
To get me through corners a little. Wow, this car just spins out really easily.
I think
My
I need to
rear
go
tires
today.
are getting
Can
too
you see
hot.
stuff? Because it's like pitch black for me. I think I need to quit.
Oh no, I can see enough to get by, but if you need to change,
I think I
that's
need
fine.
to because I actually can't see anything. My screen must be darker than yours. Next question is, after owning technically 2 Hondas, but one that you actually rode, and 2 Yamahas, why did you decide to go Euro and get a Triumph Speed Triple?
Are
Having
you
never ridden
like
one.
recording this? Just seems like you're doing a documentary.
Okay, fine, you got me. Yes, I'm recording this. I figured.
Are you actually?
Yes, I'm making a. This is gonna be a possibly Wednesday type video because we already have Monday and Friday, and I thought a Wednesday thing could be just weird like podcast style where we just talk about stuff like.
So now you're gonna have to edit out that part where I asked if you were recording it?
No, I'll throw it in.
Okay, so why did I buy a European bike that I've never ridden after owning
Mostly well, only
Hondas and
Japanese.
Yamahas? Because
Well-
I've always liked Euro things. I like Euro cars too, but I can't afford Euro cars so much, so I got a Euro bike is kind of mostly it. Plus
And I
I love
guess-
the sound.
Yeah, it's a triple,
Of
so it's
the
the first
Speed
triple you've
Triple.
had.
That's mostly it. I
something
honestly
different.
at first wanted a FZ09, but
But
then
they're new and expensive.
they're new and expensive, although not really much different than the Speed Triple I bought in the end, but I saw the Speed Triple has a slightly bigger engine, although not that much more power, surprisingly. And then I like the single-sided swing arm. I just like the style, mostly. I love the style, and that's a lot of why I ride a bike anyway, so...
And I guess to talk about the other bikes you've owned, you had a Honda CBR 600 F2, and that was like a, well, not quite a full-on sport bike, but basically an older style full-on sport bike.
It's pretty much as sporty as you could get when it came out.
Yes, but as today's
But
standard,
compared
it's
to
not, 'cause
new,
it has like
yeah.
a wider seat and longer.
Yeah, it's more like a sport touring almost
Now,
by
yeah.
today's standards.
But it still kind of was. And then you owned an R1, which was full on. That is
Awesome.
basically a race bike, but
But
yes.
also very uncomfortable.
And that, I think, is another reason why you went into something like the Speed Triple.
Because I missed the power.
Well, you wanted the power,
Is
but
that
you
what
also
you're
wanted
trying
the
to say?
uprightness for...
Yes.
Because
Yes,
sport
that's
bikes
true.
are not really meant for tall people.
No.
And they get really uncomfortable.
Not very much.
I
that's
mean,
for sure.
you can last, but not that long. For long trips, it's bad. Yeah, I was going to make this little podcast-style thing and try to do it without you knowing, even though I knew you'd eventually catch on because it's really weird questions all the time. But, and then after this, obviously you'd know, but I thought it'd be interesting to try. See how far I could get before you were like, what are you doing? And don't worry, I have more questions. I just try not to crash right now.
Well, I have a question for you, though.
Okay?
What made you get into bikes? Because probably the only reason I got into bikes is because of you, so you're directly responsible.
Well, that kind of leads me into another thing that I've always been scared of. Is like I always want everyone I know to get a bike, but I'm always scared to tell everyone to because I don't want to be responsible if they
You
do
don't
something
want
stupid.
to feel responsible if they die.
Yes. Which also leads into
That's
another
why-
question I have, but I'll wait till we get there.
Yeah, that's why I rarely push people to get a bike. I just
Yeah.
tell them they should, and that's
I
about it. I
suggest
don't
and then
try
I
to
wait.
convince them beyond that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And then if they get interested, then I'll tell them
what
more.
bikes to get?
Basically. Yeah.
So I guess what got me into biking, I don't know exactly, just seeing other bikes on the road, I think, mostly. And then watching YouTube videos, I think, from way back in the day. On like streetfire.net or whatever that was called.
Street Fighter. I forgot about that site.
It's still around, I think. I checked not too long
Really?
ago. Yeah. But anyway, I think one of the big ones that got me into wanting to do biking is the one time in Saskatoon. I don't remember if I was in my car or what was going on, but there was like a Porsche in one lane. I don't know, and then these two bikes like pulled up behind him, and then they both started revving back and forth. I've probably told you this story like 100 times.
Yes, you have.
But they just like revved back and forth, and then the light turned green, and they just both, one went one way, one went the other way around him, and just went flying by. It wasn't even that crazy of a Porsche. It was like a Porsche, yeah, Cayenne SUV or something. But it was still cool to see. And then watching all
So
those videos.
you just saw some cool guys and
Yes.
decided you
Those
had
guys
to be
out
one
there
of them?
somewhere are the ones that made me do this. And then as soon as I graduated from high school at 18 or whatever, I went and bought a bike jacket and bike gloves and boots. And I didn't even have a bike yet. I just knew I was going to get one. And I wanted that stuff before I got one. Which is probably a good idea.
Well, yeah, you did it better than most people, I think, who just go and buy a leader bike and then crash and have no gear.
Yeah, I think most people are worried that they'd do that and then not want a bike or something and not be able to afford it, so they just have all this stuff. Because you don't want to be the guy that has the gear and just wears it even though he doesn't bike. Because I've seen those people.
Kind of
out
like
there.
people who have Ferrari jackets.
Yes.
Or shoes.
I think the reason I bought an MT-01, well, part of the reason is because it was cheap and I wanted a newer bike that was good for trips, but the other reason was because I wanted something with a different engine that I've had before. I've had the straight fours on bikes.
Yeah, that's also another reason why I went with a Triumph over a Japanese bike. It's mostly the engine and also for trips, just because it's more comfortable.
Yeah, upright seating position is key. So we kind of already answered this, but what makes biking fun? And then having heard non-bikers justify why they don't need to or don't want to, how would you describe biking? I don't know.
How would I describe?
Well, just because there's
biking?
everyone that's like, they're like, I don't need a bike, I've driven a car, I've driven fast things, what's the point of getting a bike? It's just like a more dangerous version of the same things they've
I
already
think
done.
the biggest reason most people do that is because they're afraid.
That's exactly
of
what I
getting
thought
hurt.
too.
But I mean, that's the thing. I'm not gonna say they shouldn't be afraid because you
there's
can
real-
get very hurt,
there
and
are
it's
stupids.
not a lot of the time not even your fault. So that's again another reason why you don't. Well, both of
push
us
people?
don't really push people too hard to get into it.
Because I was
Just
thinking,
wait for them to come to you.
yeah, I was thinking things that annoy me the most is when you're talking to someone about bikes and they're like, I would, but I'd be in jail, or I would, but I'd kill myself. I'm just like the most annoying cop-outs I've ever heard. Because I guess like if you're really that scared, then you shouldn't do it. But I feel like
Oh yeah, but
you probably
a
wouldn't
lot
be
of
in jail,
guys,
and you probably
if they
wouldn't
had a
go to
car
jail.
that was fast, they'd be in jail too, and probably you can hurt yourself in a car pretty bad as well.
Yeah. And if anything, I think the bike makes you drive safer because it is so much more dangerous.
Pay attention.
As long as you're a
Unless
sane,
you're
normal
one of those
person.
people
Yes,
who,
you're
yeah,
done.
exactly. I mean, I'm sure there's people who aren't just afraid, but sorry, I'm going slow.
Okay, your
'cause my
whole car
tires
started
are still
shaking. It
cold.
freaked me out. Under braking there.
This car just turns so well. Oh! Oh no!
Yeah, that's what I've done every single race, except for this time because I saw you going for it. Basically, when it comes down to it, there's just nothing like being out in the open on a motorcycle, ripping. Even, that's another thing I wanted to talk about, is the fact that you don't even have to own a fast vehicle to have fun. I don't think.
No, you don't.
Both car or bike.
Well, we both had enough fun on our, like, 40-year-old bikes.
Exactly. If you really want to get into biking cheap, I mean, obviously don't cheap out on the gear, but I bought a $500 motorcycle, and yours was $750.
Yeah, mine I put quite a bit of work into to make it properly rideable, but yours ran good for like 2 years, didn't it? Before it
Yeah, a year and a half. It
started
was perfectly
causing
fine, and I
problems.
barely touched it. I mean, it wasn't the prettiest thing ever, but for cheap, you can get into it, and it's pretty much faster than most cars,
Yeah, your
even
bike's actually
being
pretty
from
decent.
that old. Like I beat, I mean, not that this is that impressive, but like one of those SRT 10 Jeeps.
Well, those are decently quick.
Still an SUV, but I'm just saying, for something from 1979 or whatever it is, 78, it's still
Not
ridiculously
even
quick.
like the most insane bike either.
Yeah, exactly. You still
Wasn't
can
the
have a lot of fun.
850 more of the touring version of the GS's?
I mean, if you look at what they actually look like, it's basically a gold wing.
Yeah,
at the
they
day.
have that giant fairing on them.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, most people who make those excuses are generally afraid. I'm sure some of them might have good reasons other than that, but
Yeah, maybe someone they knew died or something happened like that.
yes, which is fine. Although I'd still say that's gonna be a fear, even though it's
A legitimate
a
one.
legit fear, it's still a fear.
And then just going back to having fun driving slower vehicles, bikes are one thing, but cars you can do that too. Like we were talking about with the Caterhams and stuff, they're not necessarily that fast of vehicles, like or a Miata or something like that. And actually, just thinking about stuff like that, a non-fast car that's kind of old and not even that expensive, although they're going up now because Magnus Walker, but like old 928s and stuff. It was one of the most fun cars I've ever had, and it's not slow, but it's not fast either. Just like the sound and the experience you have driving it was amazing. And actually, even your what did you have? 944.
44.
That was a pretty
Yeah,
cool
that
car.
was fun. It was pretty slow. That's definitely true, but
And
no,
that's
it was fun.
The reason you eventually got rid of it.
And it just felt good to drive it too, just because, I don't know. Yes, I did get rid of it because it was slow and it was hard to get power out of it without doing anything super crazy. And at the time I needed to pay off a loan, but you can get a 944 S2 or turbo, and even those aren't that expensive, and they're not ridiculously fast, but they're definitely faster than a regular 944.
And they're fun, especially for like a starter car or something. Oh, maybe my time. No, no, no! I almost died on a tire. What would be your ultimate motorcycle? And this can be anything from a Virago that's 100% stock to an H2, all the way up to like custom-made whatever you build bike.
It's a hard question. Depends what you're doing it for, because I don't think you can. I'm not one for having a good all-rounder because it's
Want
a
something
summer
for
vehicle
everything.
anyway. So what's the point of that? So yeah. Sport-wise, if I was going sport, I'd really love to hopefully try the new Ducati,
Yes.
the V4 Panigale,
Weirdly enough,
because I think that's amazing.
I don't care much for the Kawasaki H2.
I mean, it's cool, but
It would be fun to ride once, but it's not like a dream bike for me. And I think I could go my
Yeah,
entire
me
life
neither.
without really wanting or caring about it. I mean, it would definitely destroy most every bike I've ever ridden, but
no, like I said, sport-wise, I think I'd do the new Ducati just because I love the engine and I like that they're finally doing something new.
yeah. I think for me, the ultimate would just be like a custom-built something with like the parts from various bikes that I'd like. And
Yeah,
like
that would
again,
help.
like you said, it'd be. I'd like to have probably several bikes for different things. I'd like to have a V-twin just because
Yeah.
they look kind of cool. I'd
Like
have like a V-twin and a
currently,
sport
right now,
twin. Yeah.
The next bike I would love to get would be a bobber, a Triumph
Oh,
bobber, just
yes.
because I think they're so cool.
They are definitely cool. Oh, I guess
But
it's
yeah,
just me.
custom is definitely good. Because I'd love to have a super comfortable bike. I feel like the bobber for me would be comfortable. I don't know about everybody, but
I mean, it's not like the most comfortable bike ever, but
it's
it's
not a
definitely
Goldwing
comfortable
or
enough.
anything. But
Yeah.
compared to what I'm used to,
Yeah, I can see the appeal of Gold Wings. At the same time, if you're gonna
yeah,
bike, why not just bike instead of buy a two-wheeled
yeah,
car?
exactly.
Which is basically what a Gold Wing is.
So yeah, I love the bobber. The speed triple that I have is kind of one of a dream bike anyway, so that's a good thing.
And you haven't even ridden it yet.
I know.
I'm
I
excited for
hope
that,
it's
actually.
good.
I'm sure it will. I can't see it being bad, but
Well,
you never know, I
until
guess.
like Friday, it was really nice weather here, and it was getting close to the roads being all dry, and I was getting tempted just to go out.
I almost rode my bike to my garage here. It was that nice, but it was just a little bit too much ice on the road still.
Yeah. As far as custom, I don't know what I would do. I would probably base it around the engine, but I'd have to have
Yeah.
a few. I don't think there's one bike that I would just be content with.
Yeah, I agree.
mean, that's where I feel like the Triumph is probably the one I would be. It's the best compromise right now with the amount of money and everything I have too. So
Yeah.
because I like V-twins because they're cool, but I also love high revving, like
I know,
inlines
yes.
and
An inline for like an R1. Or like the new Ducati. I would like the Diavel or whatever it's called. That thing's kind of cool too.
yeah.
But I wouldn't want to have it just that bike. I wouldn't buy one just because, I don't know. Have you ever seen the MT-OS? It's basically my bike but the
think
racing
so.
version.
Didn't know they made a racing version.
I don't know if it's real or not. I think it actually was, but I'm not sure how close it was to the concept of the MT-OS. But it's really cool and I really like it, and I'd kind of want to build my bike to look similar to that. Except for I don't like the front fairing as much. They kind of made it like cafe racer
Did they
race
put
bike.
one of those weird like bubble fairings on it?
Kind of. It's like a futuristic
Like-
version of that.
Have you seen the BMW R90
Yes.
cafe like racer thing? I do not like that.
No.
I don't like that weird bubble fairing.
Okay, well, from Ultimate Bike, what's your ultimate car? Again, for
911?
me. Oh, well. Definitely. Well,
That
okay,
just
so
does it
we'll
for
do
me.
ultimate car that's
If you're
stock would be
Yeah.
911, yes. Which one? Like a
And that's hard to.
993?
Well, the dream that I've always had since I was young is a 993 turbo.
I've
Because
always
as
liked the
I've told you the
991,
story,
but yes.
and you were there, but I don't know if you remember, is we were in Saskatoon, parked by a future shop, and you said, "Hey, look at that!" And there was a 993 turbo parked there, and it was just so nice looking.
Yeah, very
And
nice.
I don't know, I think I was like 5, so obviously I loved it.
I mean, they have the giant wing. You can't not like that
Yeah.
as a kid.
And it was black, and just so shiny and curvy, and
I'd like the, I don't know, the 993 is really good, but I also really like the 991s. Actually, I just like all the old 911s. But, and if we're talking ultimate car with like no rules, and it would be again a custom built thing, probably. And it would probably be more than one. I couldn't just choose one.
yeah, that one's a little harder.
Because I've always wanted like a rally car type thing for
I was
whatever
about
reason.
to say that exact thing.
But also a trophy
I would
truck
love to have a little rally
would be
car.
kind of cool. But I wouldn't want a truck normally, and I wouldn't have it if I only could have one.
Yeah.
But a rally car is probably the ultimate street car because it actually could take daily driving. Well, besides the fact that it's so high strung that the turbo has to be replaced every race, but
Yeah.
car's
You
actually
can
built to
make a
take crazy
dailyable
races.
rally car
Yeah.
that's pretty decent.
Just
so-
down tune it a little bit. So I had another question that's kind of weird, but I think we both kind of agree on it. Is why is your ultimate car an old 911 over like these modern crazy cars that are ridiculously like way faster than a 911 would be and way whatever?
Because they're just cool, Brian.
Ultimate driver's car.
Well, that.
They take away
I mean,
so much
I've
with
never
the newer
driven a
cars.
993,
Yes.
but I've heard they're amazing.
I've never driven a 993, but I have
Plus-
driven an old 911s, and I really like them.
It kind of bugs me how much electronics are in things
Yeah.
these days.
You don't really drive the car anymore, it kind of drives you. It makes you look really good, you drive
mean-
really fast, and it's probably really cool.
I do like we have a newer-ish BMW, and I do really like it, but
Yeah, I mean, they're good daily drivers. Obviously way better than
Exactly.
an old car that's really good on the track or fun to drive. Because they're clunky and a little bit less less comfortable and hard to ride. Because they have to compromise, whereas the new electronics make it so you don't have to compromise as much. You can kind of have everything,
Yeah.
except for the feel, like you used to be able to have.
yeah. Well, I feel like if I had to buy a brand new car, I'd probably get like a 911 GT3 RS.
Yes.
Or a
GT2.
GT2, that'd be amazing too, but a GT3 RS would be cool, the naturally aspirated,
Yes.
high revving engine. Whew. If anyone has wondered, I am a Porsche fan.
Fanboy. And you even said Porsche. The Germans will love you for
I
it.
did. I've been trying to.
I know. I always
Because-
don't say that just because I hear everyone else not saying it, and I just get used to it.
I know, I feel like people will judge me and say I'm being too, what's the word?
Proper, too posh or something.
Yeah, like, I'm just, yeah, exactly.
I'm going to end this video here, guys. Thank you very much for watching. There's quite a bit more footage left that we recorded, and I'm probably going to release it in part 2 of this next Wednesday. So if you guys enjoyed this, please like the video, maybe subscribe to the channel for more content like this and other content including builds, motovlogs, and more.